Hey, how you doing? Ronin Man here. I got John here from Japan on another episode. John, how you doing?
Oh, good. It's a nice day here in Japan. It's good
Yeah,
weather.
same here. I got two friends in town, so we're gonna have a kick-ass. Last night we went out late, came back early this morning, which getting too old for this, but it was fucking fun. We had a good time, and gonna go out again tonight. So get my hair shaved off again at that barber, and I hate having hair that I have to do anything with. I fucking hate any kind of complications in life. It's like keep it as simple as possible.
Hairless.
Yeah, like a hairless cat. Yeah. All right, so yeah, so today we're talking about. There was another episode. I don't know if you guys saw it, but if you saw it, it was about Angelina Jolie, and just kind of like a real quick recap of it. It's worth watching. But what she did was I still don't know for 100% whether she had breast implants to get those big titties or if they were natural. We don't know. I looked on Google, and the fact that it's not available and that no one's talking about it is another thing I found with Ronin Man episodes. Every single time. Every time I want to know something key, it's never written about, which is interesting. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure a lot of people wondered about this, right? Because she had this big rack, and she's a terrible actress. She was in like one movie that she was big, and she became a big star from this one movie, right? Because of her boobs. That was
And her
it.
dad. And her dad.
Her dad had the connections, no doubt about it. And then her boobs, and then she also was making out with girls all the time. And back then, that was a big deal. And so she got the spotlight for making out with women, and there was all these rumors of her being lesbian. And I can tell you this: I know tons of like Hollywood stars. I mean, I grew up in Southern California. I know a lot. I've met them just over the years, either while they're famous or afterwards when they're washed up. I've talked to them both. Hang out with them, and it's like any of the stuff that's in the tabloids. It's just a big scam to get publicity. They purposely get in the news, and you can't blame them. I mean, everybody tries to get, I hope Ronin Man goes huge, and I hope that we do something that is totally viral, and I don't mind if it's, something like that. It's fine, just to get more audience. So I understand that. I'm not saying that that's anything wrong with that, but definitely her whole lesbian making out with girls thing, that was at a time when it was still hot, and that's how she got famous. Okay, that's just, she knew how to play the game, but it is kind of bullshit,
I got a question.
Yeah.
Just because you're in Thailand.
Yeah.
She has all these Thai tattoos. What's the scoop with that?
I actually have I've never found her attractive at all.
Yeah.
So I never really looked at her. Like, I've always seen her as, what do I see her as? I see her as like a large beast. Yeah, she's like a large animal. She's almost as tall as Brad. She's huge. And personally, I really think, I don't think that, like, just a side note here is, I don't think that, like, boobs, the size of boobs, make a woman attractive. So let's say a woman was theoretically 30 feet tall, right? And her boobs were like 100 meters huge. Right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't find that attractive, because it's just too big. It doesn't. It's not human. It just doesn't. Whatever the reason is, it doesn't trigger something in me that makes my dick like blue steel, right? So the smaller a girl is when she's a tiny little thing with little cute little shoulders and feminine shoulders and cute little skinny arms, and she's like, and she's got the hair, long hair, and then she's got boobs that are proportionate to her body. That every centimeter she goes up, whether it's naturally a large woman, whether it's bodybuilding, or whether it's getting fat or boob jobs or whatever, anything on top of that is ruining it. So it's to me, it's almost like there's a perfect car, like a Mustang 64, and the more stuff you put on it, the more you trick it out, the worse it looks to me.
Yeah, just leave it the way it was sold.
Yeah, the 64 Mustang is one of those perfect cars. It just looks perfect. The 4-speed, it was just 289. It was just perfect. My friend had one. We used to just race around in high school on that thing. And his dad worked for Ford. He was like a vice president. So this thing was like the best 64 4-speed 289 you could ever. And a cop pulled us over one time just to look at the engine. Because we outran him we outran him on the coast highway, and he actually came and slammed his hood on a car, and then he wanted to see the engine, and he looked at the engine, and he was like blown away. He's like, wow. He didn't give us a ticket or anything, you know. But either way, that's what I consider, like, there are certain things in life that are just perfect, and anytime you add to them, it just ruins them. It makes them.
Yeah.
And women are that way. So that's for me, you know. So a tiny woman, about 40 kilos, with proportionate breasts, even smaller breasts, not so huge, but nice big eraser nipples. That to me is very erotic. So
and a 4-speed.
You know, the bigger the boobs are, if they don't have those like eraser nipples on there,
oh god,
I feel super depressed. I feel like I worked so hard to get here, and now I see this, right? It's like actually, false advertising. Yeah.
It could be, you can go the other way with that one too, right? You know, just that the eraser nipples alone can forgive a lot of things. True.
That's absolutely true. No, you're fucking totally right. Yeah, and that's common in Japan, having eraser nipples, I found. So
I think it's after birthing too, something with that.
No, I mean like single girls and college girls. Yeah, no, there's something about the shape of the boobs, and no one ever talks about it. Like they'll always say like guys have yellow fever, where they'll never talk about the specifics of the differences in the body. Maybe they don't know the differences. That's probably the reason.
They don't spend enough time there.
Yeah, they don't have enough experience to say that this is a common thing in this country and this is an uncommon. They can see girls with clothes on, right?
Yeah.
But not with clothes off, and not up close, because a picture doesn't tell you as much about a woman's body as when you're there.
It doesn't do it justice.
It doesn't. I've had girls that were really pretty, and I took pictures, and they just didn't look, in the picture didn't look great. So maybe that's what in the West is they focus on pictures. So like if you have huge boobs in a picture, it looks good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like an oversized body in a picture, you can't tell, but in person, it's not very attractive. But either way,
this is true. The fantasy and reality, right?
Yeah. Well, I just think it's a different medium. It's a different medium, and it misleads you, right? You know.
Yeah. Well, let's get back to what the main event here is.
Yeah. So basically, like now, we're looking at the Hollywood life here, and Brad Pitt. So she essentially, in my other episode, I talked about how she essentially like, I mean, torture is a tough word, but I'm just going to use it as a guy. It fits. She kind of tortured Brad Pitt. I mean, this guy was the hottest guy. Like, if you put, I can tell you for a fact because I did this. If you put Brad Pitt lookalike in a Tokyo Classified, in like a personal ad back in the day, you literally had like hundreds of girls emailing you wanted to sleep with you.
Oh yeah,
because he was so hot back then. So this is the time when she got him, right? So she got him when he was the hottest thing, and she's obviously a competitive, cunning type of girl. You have to be cunning to get the top guy in Hollywood. It just you just doesn't stumble on this guy. You have to be cunning. You can see in this picture, she's a cunning cunt, right? You know that.
A little background, like I don't know if you remember 21 Street, the old TV series.
I never saw it. I knew the name. That's all.
Yeah, there was, and Johnny Depp and Brad Pitt started up on that, right?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and he was really an unknown kind of guy.
Oh, really?
At that point, yeah. And then he just got he was it was about Johnny Depp, right? And I mean, look at the difference now. I mean, still that Brad Pitt, he's still got lots left in him too, right?
Right. That was a long time ago. You're talking about 21 Jump Street?
Yeah, it was a TV series.
Yeah, I remember the name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so he was a hot. He was definitely a hot guy. I mean, if you look at him in Fight Club, he was able to get ripped for that. I think that's what won him a lot of guy fans. Like, I never paid attention until Fight Club, and then a Fight Club, I saw how ripped he got, and also I saw the way he acted in that movie was badass. I thought that was just a great movie. I'm not a big.
I found the one where he was a tank driver. That was a good one.
Oh, I didn't see that one. Okay. Yeah, so he won the guys over, with his badassness, and also he was friends with George Clooney, which was that would be a great episode topic too. He was the Bachelor's, and then he got taken down by that woman, right? And so now he just got like $200 million for selling a tequila company or something, and she's gonna fucking cornhole him, it's just gonna happen, right? It's perfect. It's the ball's all teed up now for the guy to get. So we got Brad Pitt. He was the hottest guy in Hollywood, and Hollywood is, and especially when he was hot, there wasn't really no Bollywood. It wasn't really a thing yet, and there was no Chinese theater. I mean, he was the hottest guy in the world. Okay, that's all there is to it, And there was probably another couple guys that could claim that title, and she got him. She had the big titties. Maybe they were real, maybe they're fake. We're not sure. Then she marries him, right? She adopts all these kids, and she has this fake lesbian thing that she gets rid of as soon as she gets married, right?
Yeah.
So it's this thing, this marketing thing, and then next thing you know, she's married, right? Lesbian married, right? I mean, any real lesbian will tell you that's just total bullshit, So either way, so she uses whatever wiles she can, and she's cunning. And then she has one movie, which was I don't remember what it was. It was a pretty shitty movie, actually. It was some adventure movie in caves or something. It was just a typical junk movie that you might go see, back then.
Yeah.
But then she marries him, and then she and then he leaves Angelina Jolie.
Tomb Raider,
right. And then he left. What was that girl he left? Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston. Yeah.
Actually, by the way, I don't know if you ever saw it. There was a picture of Jennifer Aniston topless, sunning in her backyard.
I think so. Yeah, I might. Yeah. She's cheap. Yeah.
She had the kind of boobs I'm talking about. She had the kind I like with the big nipples, and perfect. I was really, really shocked because usually when you see a Hollywood actress, they're always a big disappointment because they're all fake. But she was the real deal. She had a very sexy body, in my opinion. I really thought. And then he leaves her for this fool's gold girl with these. She's kind of ugly if you look at her, And then her boobs were these things that were like, in your face. It's like having I don't know, 4 turbos on a car, and then everything else goes to shit, right? It's not really drivable. It's not reliable. Every gas mileage is total shit, and so, but it tricks you. As a young guy, it tricks you. So it tricked him into leaving Jennifer. Whether she was the best, I don't know. But I thought her, beauty wise, I thought she was much.
That was odd. It was really odd.
She stole him from her, and she was a marriage wrecker. And she was a fake lesbian, and she was just everything that you don't really, want. Then she marries this guy who's the hottest guy in Hollywood. She immediately takes control and starts adopting kids like crazy from everywhere, which is a bit odd. I mean, I'm not going to say it's wrong. It's fine,
Yeah.
It is a bit odd, though. It's kind of weird. It's I don't know. It's just a little bit odd. Whatever. But she obviously was the architect. And then Brad Pitt obviously has a pretty cool personality. He's like, whatever. Okay, a bunch of kids. And he's like a natural man who all these kids are around. He enjoyed it, right? He was like, hey, these kids are pretty cool. He starts teaching them stuff, being a father. Then she goes and finds out that she might get cancer, or she's prone to cancer. And then she cuts her tits off, and she has her tits cut off. And that was the whole reason why Brad went with her. Is tits. It's obvious. I mean, it doesn't take a PhD to figure out that her tits got Brad Pitt. I mean, So then she, I think, and I want to hear I really want to hear you think on this, because I've seen this many times, is that women will attract a guy with something, and then the minute they get it, the guy, they will either throw it in the shit can, cut it off, get rid of it, and then society just kind of says, oh, that's her right. It's almost like it's a coincidence that this always happens right after she gets the man, right? After he makes the commitment, she takes whatever it was attractive about her and gets rid of it. What's your take on that here,
It's definitely something that people don't speak about, but I'm sure they're well aware of it. And it happens a lot that they take away those very things that they know exactly. It's a psychological trick, Right. You know exactly what you want.
Right.
And they cut it off. They literally cut it off,
Right.
And especially here in Japan, it's like sort of rite of passage where women will pump out the kid, pump out another kid. Okay, now the sex life has been cut back. Now I'm a mom, I'm too busy. Oh, now the next stage is I'm hitting 40. It's time to cut the hair short like a man.
Right. Okay, so there's two things. Is one is once the marriage happens in Japan, and Japan is a little bit extreme on these things. It's like the funniest place because it's a great place to have a girlfriend, but as far as a wife, it's like a fucking nightmare, right? And it's like foreigners don't really know this kind of tradition when they go into it. Japanese guys understand this, and they have a plan, to satisfy themselves, and they understand the whole situation. But foreigners just don't get it. So yeah, so one thing is you're out of your mind if you think you're gonna have sex with your Japanese wife after the kid comes out.
Yeah, number two, it's done.
It's finished. There's no more sex. She'll be having sex, but it's with whoever she wants to, right?
Yeah.
Her English teacher, or the yoga instructor, or her boss, or whatever is she's gonna do. And then also the other thing I think is really evil is cutting the hair off. I've seen that.
The hair is a big deal because the hair represents. They used to sell the hair, right?
Oh.
The hair, the hair, the long hair.
Your voice is quiet a little bit.
Okay, the hair is a big deal. The hair would represent. It was everything, and they used to even sell the hair, or also cutting all the hair off when you did something bad, like AKB.
Right.
Yeah. So that's a sign of it's a big sign of many things, right?
In Japan, cutting off a woman having long hair and cutting her hair off has a lot of different meanings, and there's one you're not mentioning is for example, and I never understood this one, and I really don't think it works very well for Japanese women. Although everybody that watches this podcast knows that I do like Japanese women. I think they're some of the best. Mm-hmm. But they do one odd thing, and again, this is for girlfriends, not for or one night lays or whatever, but not for wives, right? But if they break up with their boyfriend for some reason, Japanese women will just cut all their hair off, Yeah. But that's just so weird because that one is not in their advantage. That's not their advantage. Like usually they'll do it to trick a guy to get his money, but this is like a weird Japanese tradition. Like they don't need to understand this. Watch this. You don't need to understand this. But basically, like cutting off a woman's hair in Japan has a lot of like deep meaning, almost like spiritual. It's like when a Japanese person sees that she cut her hair, it's not like a Westerner that they went to the barber, they went to the beauty salon and got a new haircut. No, it's like, what is she doing? Like which one of these happened? Like,
well, it's a sign of cutting from the past, right?
Right. Yeah. Right. The cutting of the it's like a kimono. There's the kimono with the shorter sleeves and the longer sleeves. Mm-hmm. Look the same to Westerners, but the difference is married or not married. There's all these things in Japan that you don't notice when you first get there. But they cut off the hair, and actually, as anybody can see with a brain, Asian women hair is very thick and beautiful, and it's one of the most attractive things about an Asian woman is her beautiful hair. Mm-hmm. It's having thick, beautiful blonde hair is so rare. Mm-hmm. Usually blonde hair is thin, and you know what I mean. It's just not straight. It's like frizzy or something.
It's like cat hair.
Right. Thick. Well, like thick, silky hair, like a hair commercial, is almost like standard in Asia. Yeah. Whereas, and
then they put oils in it too to make it more like silky.
Sure. Yeah. Because that's very attractive, and so when they do cut the hair off, it's even more devastating for the guy. And the guy is like, look at Brad Pitt. He looks like he just shit in his pants, right? There's nothing you can do. Like, society doesn't give a guy any outlet for this stuff. It's like, you married this girl for the boobs. She cuts them off. And then this one here, like in this other articles, they basically talk about this one here. Angelina Jolie's implements are painful, uncomfortable, and they're driving her crazy. So what she did was she sorry, the screen capture is not getting the whole article, but basically what she did was after she had her tits cut off. So now imagine she's got this, like, I don't know if you've ever look online and you can see like post mastectomy or whatever, what it looks like. I've seen this because my friend's grandmother had breast cancer when I was in high school, and we walked in on her accidentally in the bathroom once.
Yeah.
And I was in high school, and I saw what it looks like. It's really bad. It's really bad. I mean, I feel sorry for, obviously she had cancer. It's terrible, but in high school I was like, oh my God, oh Jesus. And so when a woman does, I mean, obviously it's not supposed to be beautiful, but it is like very unattractive when you cut the boobs off, right? So everything's gone. Everything's, it's like, it's more depressing than you would ever guess, put it that way.
Yeah, I can believe it. Yeah.
Which is fine, which is totally fine. But if she did it when she didn't have cancer, she's just doing it because she's susceptible to cancer, I just thought that was bullshit. To me, it's cutting off the hair. Then she went, in this article, they basically say that she had boobs implanted in under that ugly skin with no nipples.
Yeah.
And so what she did that for, in my mind, is very clearly for society. So this is like, she's sticking the strap-on deeper into Brad's ass. It's like you married me for the boobs. Well, guess what? I'm going to cut them off, right?
And not only that, I'm going to cut them off, and then I'm going to put these other things in there to make it look even worse than it could be.
Well, not only that, but what's really bad, it's even worse than that, because in my mind, because when a woman has fake boobs, she's gonna look good in clothes.
Yeah.
So with a wedding dress and with at a party, she's still gonna look like she's attractive. But in person, for the guy who has to deal with her, it's really like it's really sad, right? And so we don't want to go on this one too much, but like this was pretty sad, and like the boobs here in the picture here, they're fake. They're totally fake. The nipples are fake. There's no feeling there. There's no. It's really sad. So I'll go back to the article you're looking at here. So basically, like, now we're in a situation where this woman is screwing Brad over. She's already humiliated him. She got him. She humiliated him. She took away everything that was attractive about herself. She brought a bunch of children that aren't even his into the family. A lot of guys would not be into that. Like men, because men have a very strong desire. That's why male jealousy exists, is because we're very, very concerned that the baby is ours, and it's an emotional, logical thing that we can't put into words. So when she adopts a bunch of kids, I'm sure it in his mind, it's like, wait, this is not my kid. And then he's like, wait, logically, she didn't have sex with that guy, but it's like it fucks with a guy. Guys are not in. It's just like, it's okay. I mean, in a situation where you're on a desert island and there was no parents, I could totally see doing this. Like just kind of adopting all the kids and then making sure they're raised right. I can see that. But here it was like to get attention. It was like she knew that she's ugly now. She's got no tits. And so she's now going to find another way to be famous. Besides, she can't be a lesbian anymore because nobody wants to even think about that woman naked anymore. So now, like, she's already burned that bridge. So now she's gonna do something like outrageous, and this is what Hollywood, they often have to do, something out fucking outrageous, right? So okay, so now let's see here. So what about this article? You had a read of it. What's your take on the whole thing?
Well, him. Maybe I'm jumping a bit too far into the story, but apparently he was putting one of the kids in line, and that's what got him busted.
Oh yeah. Oh really? That's what when they had the supposed disagreement on the airplane, right?
Yeah. He probably said a few coarse words to a kid, like "shut the fuck up" or something. And that got, because they were flying, then it becomes a federal matter, right?
Right. There's cops on board, Yeah,
it's federal now, and it's not only that; it's international. So now it's federal, international. You got FBI in there.
Oh, right.
So now it gets blown right the fuck out of, and he probably had a couple. You know how many dads have a couple after work, and they might actually say their opinion finally. Wow,
I got to stop you there, John. That's a really good insight, because the thing is if I give you, let's say somebody gives you some weed, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have weed on you and you're driving around town. You're not under that much risk, right?
Yeah.
But if you go to an airport and fly, all of a sudden something that's pretty normal is it has the opportunity to totally go. I bet she has a lawyer or a strategist who told her to do this.
Yeah, get him on board. Make sure he's got a couple glasses in him.
Yeah, because this is the perfect place to have him melt down or have him have a problem, right? Like if you get drunk, let's say today you get totally wasted, or I get totally wasted, and I walk down the street and I fall down, I make an ass out of myself, and I yell at people or whatever. Let's say that I even gets worse. Let's say that a guy took a swing at people, like he's so drunk he thinks there's ghosts or something. He thinks he's being arrested, or whatever. He's just like totally out of it, right? Well, in real life, everybody knows that drunk people do stuff like that, so they don't call the FBI on guys like that.
No.
They just kind of like let him sleep it off, or somebody might punch him in the face or something, but whatever, it's not going to go to the police, not to mention the FBI or any kind of international board. It's not going to make him, ruin his life. It's just like his life. But in an airport, holy crap, it's a perfect time. So I think for anybody listening, a woman, if you want to really fuck a guy over, the best thing to do is trick him into doing something on an airplane, and then you can play whatever role you want.
Yeah.
And then you can set the thing up for him. You can even put marijuana in his bag as a woman. You could have him busted and arrested. Put coke in his bag or something. There's a lot of things that they could do. And women are not above these things when they're getting divorced. This is a perfect thing, like put child porn in his bag or something. Yeah. That's perfect, right?
Load up his tablet, any of his phone or whatever with a whole bunch of weird pictures.
Yeah, that would be perfect. So she didn't obviously get the good advice, but she got some advice. So then he went ahead, and again, I'm taking that. I'm saying maybe, but whether she did it on purpose or not, there's no coincidence that it happened on an airplane, right? Because it's one of these times.
He blew it right out of the proportion because it becomes a federal offense.
Right.
Now it's a serious crime.
Right. Right. So he was set up probably, and if not, he was in the perfect storm, and so he was drinking, and he, like you said, perhaps he disciplined his kid or something. Wasn't happy.
Yeah. It was verbal. I'm pretty sure it was a verbal reprimand.
Oh, definitely. I mean, if it was physical, we would know about it big time because. Do you remember when this thing broke?
Yeah.
Do you remember what was happening? I remember. I don't have the articles right now, but I remember that the suspicion was that it wasn't said directly what Brad did, but it was really like I really got the impression that he did something really bad.
That was the whole. That was what they wanted to deliver. They wanted to deliver the story of this tyrant, this evil.
Well, I thought he molested the kids or something. Like it was that bad.
I thought it was more like he was physically abusive.
Black eyes and stuff, right.
On the airplane, right? But it wasn't that. He was reprimanding his child for doing something, but it happened to be on an airplane. Right. You happen to have a couple drinks, and then it becomes an FBI thing, right?
Right. And
it's fucked.
But there was a lot of insinuations, and there was a lot of not clear, and then now you see him, and that's bad in itself. Like if it's insinuated that you beat your somebody, a defenseless child, if that's insinuated in international news, I can tell you this for sure with international news is. Anything that's printed, this is what I learned from a couple of my projects that got a lot of publicity, is anything that's printed in the news, some people in the world, for whatever reason, are going to read it and always believe it.
Oh, yeah.
Because they won't, just for whatever reason, they're not going to see the follow-up articles, or they're not just going to read the headline or whatever. So there are people in the world right now who think Brad beat up his kids, gave them black eyes, or molested them. I can tell you right now, 100%. Because those insinuations were never like fully debunked.
Yeah.
There was never like her out there pleading on TV like, no, he didn't do that. Like, don't say that. Like, I want a divorce, but I mean, I don't want people to misunderstand him. He didn't. He's not a child. Something like that. That would have helped. There would still be people who believed it, you maybe in India or whatever, there's people who aren't nearby who would have just seen the one article and their English is not their first language or whatever reason. But if she would have debunked it right away, very loudly, and came to his side, but of course she's never going to do that. She's going to insinuations to her advantage, right? So, and then I just want to say one other thing. I watched the video. I've been watching Brad because I'm actually I like Brad actually. He's one of the actors I actually do somehow. What do you call it? Like I kind of feel like we have a lot in common. We're like the same age, and I can kind of relate to Brad a little bit, although I don't know him personally. But it's strange for me because I'm not a fan. My main motto is like a fan of no man. I don't buy any fucking T-shirts with people or shoes with any guy's name on it. I think it's very weird and lame. But I think also when you see a lot of personalities interacting on, sometimes you do sympathize or you find people who have things in common. That was what I felt with this guy, right? So I did happen to watch a couple videos, and he talked about being an alcoholic, and he obviously has been to a 12-step program now. And so I've talked a little bit about 12-step program meetings before in podcasts, and not directly, but I may have insinuated, right? So I can relate to this guy a little bit. And so he basically, this dude here, is really like, okay, if a guy or a woman has a problem, let's say they have a real problem, like let's say they're an overeater, it's just not the same as, you know what I mean? It's not the same as somebody who just does something, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a little bit different if they have a disease that's, they obviously they are responsible for their actions, but also there is some more complicated things going on, right? Obviously a lot of great people like Hemingway have been destroyed by alcoholism. People have been destroyed by drug addiction. Good people in every other way, but they have this one weakness, and it's just, allergy to alcohol or drugs or whatever, food or whatever. So, this guy had a kind of a problem, right? Obviously. But I didn't read, and I looked very closely. I never heard anything really bad that he did. I never... You know what I mean? Like Brad Pitt.
No, it's all innuendo. It's all. I find a little side issue is I find that the media here in Japan even is a little more hardcore. They accuse. They don't say the alleged. It's been alleged very often, and I think he's been accused, and decisions made by the media.
Oh.
Yeah, he's been accused. The court of the media has basically judged him.
Right. So I think they really, I think that this is another case. I talked about it before. There's a couple things that are going on too that are interesting in this case. Is one of them is he's being punished for being married, and exactly the same as Tiger Woods and many other guys. Is when you get married, you are putting your balls on the chopping block. And if he drank too much and he was single, he would have women throwing themselves all over him, and there would be no problem at all. But his crime, and he committed a crime, and I really don't recommend committing this crime, and that's getting married, because it's the one crime you can be, tried for over and over and over. You can pay for the rest of your life, but never be a free man again. You're always like under the, you know what I mean? You always have to maybe... Like if you win the lottery, she can go back to court, and then she can, like a shark, she can get more money. There's even women who've come back 20 years later after the last payment and gone when the guy made some money and said, and said that they, that was their idea. And just like this week, actually, Yoko Ono took credit for the song Imagine.
God, that's insane.
So like this is a kind of a typical thing like for women. So it's like he got married. So guys, if you're listening to MGTOW, like I know a lot of MGTOWs say they get married and they have kids, and there are people MGTOWs that say that. I really I think that's just so foolish. I think there's so many women in the world. If you need sex, there's many ways to get it, and you can just keep trading them in for newer models. You don't need to keep the older model that's going to start breaking down and falling apart and.
It's not under warranty anymore.
Yeah, the warranty is gone, right? You can't fix like an old car. Just can't really be fixed the best way. Or like a computer, if you have a computer from 7 years ago, no matter what you do to it, it's going to have problems. It's better to just buy the new model, and you can buy the lowest new model. It'll still be better, right? Faster.
Throw in good money after bad.
Yeah. Just keep trading them in. I mean, you're a guy. You're a guy. Okay, there's nothing to be ashamed of. You're a man. You have free choice. You can do what is good for you, and you don't owe all the women in the world. In fact, if you think you do, just think about it. You cannot fulfill every woman. The only thing you can do is throw your life away to try to fulfill one woman, but you can't do it for. What about the other millions and billions of women? So you can't save the world. The only logical thing you can do is to do what makes sense to you. If you like to have sex with girls in their early 20s, then stay single and have sex with girls in their early 20s for the rest of your life, right? And focus on making money and improving yourself. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And there's even girls who are down for that, right?
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, it's just the whole don't fucking get married, right? It's just totally ridiculous. And especially a guy like this, you know, he really, and I just want to say one last thing on this little rant here is that somebody said on the episode about Tiger Woods, somebody commented below, I think it's I Know You Know, and he said that he didn't feel sorry for Tiger Woods because Tiger Woods was so rich that he didn't have any reason to get married, right? And so that's what he was saying. And I said, and to I Know You Know's credit, he actually was totally cool about it. But I said, look, that's total bullshit because Tiger Woods, for example, his family was poor. He played on public courses. His dad was like some kind of special forces in the Marines or something. And like his mom was a Thai immigrant. So they didn't have any money. She didn't have any money. His dad, the salary is not that good in the military. And so, you know, they made do on that. And then he played public courses and worked his ass off to get rich, right? So he was raised with the same mindset. It's not money. If I gave you money, if you win like the lottery today, you don't automatically change your social status and your mindset. That's why, like, my grandparents from the Depression never changed, right? They could never change from the way their mind was when they were younger, right? So, guys, you got to have some sympathy for other guys. Like, don't just attack these guys. Like, think about it. Like, in fact, I am going to go even farther and say the more money you have, like Brad Pitt, the more danger you have. And the reason is because you're such a hot guy, okay, by society standards, that what happens is that the most cunning, dangerous, cold woman is going to come to you. If you're just a normal guy and you're like in college and you know what I mean, you're just going to randomly, whatever girl's next to you, you're going to end up with, right? Or some girl you met at a party or something. But when you're like an icon, it's totally different. It's like women are just, you know, anybody who knows like NBA fans and like bands that have groupies and they're stabbing each other in the back. They're just, you know, they're just fucking anything to climb that mountain to get that hot guy, right? And so the winner, it's not every time, but I would say most of the time whenever there's a lot of competition, the odds are high that the winner is going to have the highest skill. So there's a high chance that Kevin Durant is one of the best players in the world right now, right? The basketball players. And there's a high chance that LeBron James is not going to be somebody who can just kick his ass on the fucking playground, right? Because the best guy rises to the top. And so he's the best guy. He rose to the top. And then the women that go for him, and nobody talks about this, they are the worst. They're the fucking worst. And that's what happened when he left Aniston. And this other one tricked him with all these things. And so I think these rich guys actually need advice. Like, I know some very wealthy people who are wealthy family money, you know, and they had an advisor who would talk to them when they were little kids and kind of teach them, like these little girls that I'm talking about, they had $100 million trust fund and each of them. And so the advisor, what he did is he was a specialist in kids and he talked to them and explained, you know, like, people are going to want things from you. They're like, what do you mean? What do they want? Right? And he's like, well, you know, you guys are a little bit different, right? You know, you're the same, but look where you go on vacation. Look where they go. And he was teaching them, like, to be careful for boyfriends, for friends, for legal things. And he taught them how to, from a young age, just to kind of, and he was actually really good because I heard about it all because I know these people quite well, and it was like pretty cool. Like I thought, wow, that's really smart. Is you could teach your kids so they don't just run into a situation where they just lose everything, or get blackmailed or something, right? They had some kind of professional help. I think that if you have a son, you really need to take him from an early age, and especially if he's like a go-getter and a succeeder, you have to say, look, son, give him the manipulated man, give him the predatory female, and really like go through these things. Show him podcasts like this, and really teach him that it's not always what you think. There's other things going on. There's real danger, and it doesn't matter if feminists accept it. It doesn't matter if mass media. None of this matters. You're a man. Take the fucking world by the fucking balls, and protect the people you love, and tell them the truth.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
So what? I'm down at the bottom of the article. I don't know if I'm scrolling the same place you are, but what else? What other take did you have on this, or things you thought when I was talking?
I just brought up some thoughts about generally an easy way to see this is through entertainment, through the mass media, through famous people like Brad Pitt, like what's the guy from the Beatles?
Paul McCartney, right?
Yeah, good example. There's probably endless examples of that kind of where they're accumulating an empire and they're getting shut down, right? They're getting...
Well, she was a classic, Paul McCartney's wife, because she was missing a leg, right? Yeah. So she played on... Paul McCartney is obviously a good man, and she played on his natural sympathy and protection. And because obviously he can have any woman he wants, pretty much, right? For all intents and purposes, right? So, but he saw this weak creature and wanted to protect her.
Yeah.
It's not like he got a Woody seeing that she didn't have a leg. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That does not give a guy. She basically tricked him, and she probably played a lot of games that he never talked about. That made him feel like, hey, this woman. My money can help her to have a good life,
Right. Like sort of like a bird with a broken wing.
Right. If that bird with a broken wing is like in Walmart having to carry her groceries with one leg, and she's going to have a hard time, right? And that's true.
Yeah.
But if she's with Paul McCartney, then she, she can have all kinds of prosthetics and all kinds of electric cars and all kinds of people helping and delivery and all kinds of things that can make her life good. And that's the white knight that I'm going to do an episode on soon. It's the white knight in all of us.
Syndrome, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I want to talk about the white knight syndrome, because I want to talk. I don't know if you want to be on this episode, but
I think definitely that's a valid, that's another maybe out of top 5 things guys should know is the white knight syndrome.
Right, and the thing is my theory is that if you look at all the videos on being a white knight, is they are quite adolescent and they're not very deep. So they'll say like for example, at a bar, some guy will try to save a woman, and then they'll say, oh, he's a white knight. Or someone will cock block so that the guy can't pick a girl up in a bar, and they'll say, see, he's a fucking white knight. And they'll berate the guy. But I don't think that's how it is. I think that we all have, it's a natural thing, is that man... that's why we see a baby and we feel emotion. There's chemicals released in our bloodstream by the desire to protect and to make sure that thing is safe and healthy and all that. So it's that is also, you could say it's some kind of a white knight thing. So I want to get deep into it, because I think that if we're not honest, okay, if MGTOW, if a niche like this cannot tell the truth about something like this, what can we do?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like if we're just going to call the guys names because they're more extreme or they showed it in this certain way, it's like, no, we all have it in us, and we all have to fight against it. I know with one of my girlfriends I dated, I definitely had the white knight syndrome with one girl, and I'm not like a big white knight guy at all, but I still had it, and it hurt me. And the situation I'm talking about. It hurt me, right? So, we all have it in us. It shows in different ways, and also it's based on some very evolutionary strong and actually rational things where we want to protect things. We want to raise young. We want them to be, you know what I mean? Like it's complicated. It's part of us. It's something that deserves a very deep.
It goes back to things like the Titanic, even. It's women and children first, right?
Oh, totally. And even the recent when the plane crashed in the Hudson in New York, they women and children first, and the guys end up living because the plane didn't sink, but very easily would have been all the guys died because they took the women out first. You know, it's not children first. Now, for me, children first would make sense.
Yeah.
Because children are young, they have a lot ahead of them. You know, but women and children, that to me makes no sense at all. Children are smaller too; they can fit in the boat. You more of them in a boat, you know.
Yeah.
They're more versatile. They can handle being out in the ocean longer. Probably, you know, not infants, but children. They're more tougher. You know, I remember like a motorcycle accident I had when I was 13. That if I did now, I'd probably be paralyzed. You know.
Oh yeah, they're like they're like bamboo. They just bend.
Yeah. I caved in the whole side of a Mustang with my face, you know. You could even see my face in the metal. You could see my eyebrows in the fucking metal of the car. No helmet.
Mustang Ronin.
Yeah, like a spear into the side of the thing. And I flew over the car like, I don't know how many meters, many meters. And I don't remember any of this. But I was on the ground and everybody thought I was dead. And then I just stood up like nothing. And I didn't even have a broken bone.
You're like a cartoon.
Yeah, it was like a cartoon. Yep. It was like a cartoon. So I know that when I was 13, that's what happens. It can happen. And today, 52, it ain't going to happen, right? So either way, so yeah, we do want to protect and kids. So I understand protecting kids, but women, I mean, they're human beings. So of course you want to save as many people as possible, like that fire in London. You know, you want to save everybody, right? You know, it's let's save if we have time to make a choice. Let's save the ones with the most in front of them. But basically, let's try to save everybody and do our best to think that way. Even
definitely, I agree with you on that. The kids first thing, it makes a lot of sense because even like older kids can take care of younger kids, right?
Right, and even some parents, like you see parents who will protect their kids and die. And there was a woman in China, like recently, like a couple months ago, where she was getting caught in an escalator that was basically chewing her to pieces, and she grabbed her baby and pushed it above.
Yeah. So
it's natural, right?
Yeah. So that's these are all good. This one discussion brings out a lot of stuff in what men need to realize about their position in society.
Right. Like, well, I mean, like anybody who's an advisor, like I just think like they should be telling Brad Pitt and George Clooney, like, do not get married on paper. Do not even think about it. And be very, very, very careful that you don't break an unwritten rule. Like, I know in China, if you live with a Chinese girl for more than 30 days, she can divorce you essentially and take half your stuff, just like if you were married.
Oh wow! Oh yeah. A lot of I think states and also provinces in Canada, I think it's 6 months.
Right. You need to know that exact date if you're wealthy, and you can move after five months and 29 days to another state for a period of time, and make sure that you don't accidentally get married without even being married. Because there's living together is considered the same. Right. And I'm sure there's ways around it, but you have to be very careful to know the law. If you have the money, it's worth checking out because essentially they're coming for you. There's traps. There's traps for you as a man, and these are things that are non-negotiable. You find about them afterwards, and you work very hard to earn money to make a good life, and then everything's taken from you, and nobody cares. No, unfortunately, and a lot of other guys are brainwashed to throw it. It's not only the feminists in society; it's the other guys too that'll come after you. It's you know what I'm saying? Like totally.
The ones that haven't seen the light yet, you know.
Yeah, or they're just in a different mood, or yeah, whatever they like that guy I know talking about
Mm.
Tiger Woods, and I just see it as a different perspective because maybe I just had more experience with women, and I was at some level at age in my life I was kind of a hot guy. Like there was a lot of women wanted me at that time, and so I kind of learned that when you are a hot guy, sure you do get a lot of women, but there's a negative to it. There's a real negative is that if you go through a few hundred women,
Yeah.
you're going to come across a real predator, a sociopath.
Yeah.
And those are the ones who tend to get you.
Yeah, definitely she is a sociopath, this Angelina Jolie. Yeah.
Right,
And,
right.
and here's the other side thing. She never had a good relationship with her father. Now, does that not say anything?
Oh.
Very bad relationships with him.
Is that right? Oh, I didn't know about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. John Voight doesn't not talking on talking terms. It's even public. It's in the media. He's even on. It even affects his career too, right?
Oh, for sure.
Right. It trashes his career, right?
I haven't heard about him being in a movie, and I liked him a lot, actually, John Voight.
Yeah, I think wasn't he All the President's Men, maybe, or something like that?
He was in a lot of cool movies. He was in that one with Dustin Hoffman, where they were like he was wearing the leather jacket and the brown hat.
Urban Cowboy.
Urban Cowboy. Oh, he was great in that. He was a man's man. He was a cool guy,
Yeah. She trash talked him in the media all the time, and he would be interviewed and saying, I don't know what's going on. I just want to have, a relationship with my daughter, and she's saying all these things, and he's somewhat baffled.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh, I didn't know that. So that would be the other thing is if Brad Pitt had some kind of a MGTOW advisor, the guy would do some research.
He's on good terms with him, I think, too. He's trying to mend things.
Oh.
You read up on that one too. I'm definite on that. He's been trying to mend things.
Right. He knows her, and so right. Right. It's the same. The thing about human beings, they play the same games over and over. So, I've always recommended to people like, if you are going to get married, which I think is the fucking stupidest idea you could ever do. There's nothing that's in your advantage as a guy. If you're a woman, you should definitely trick a guy into marriage and get a rich guy, as rich as possible, because you can just leave him at any time. There's no pain. There's no negative downside. You can just after 3 months you can marry him and take a few $1 million easily. So it's like a slot machine or something. But for guys, what every guy should do, and I recommended this in an earlier podcast, is if you are stupid enough to get married and you can't control yourself, then you need to hire a private investigator.
Yeah.
To go deep into her background, and whatever you pay will definitely pay off in the long run. And you want to find out everything about her sexual history. You want about her history with money, her history with her friends, her history in high school, her history of any kind of interpersonal relations, people that she worked with. You want to know how her neighbors think about her, any stories they have. You really want to go as deep as possible, especially if you have money. Because
sounds like you're interviewing somebody for the CIA if they want to join or not.
Well, the thing is it all this stuff is to your advantage. It's in your and you don't have to. She does never have to know, right? And so
I get it.
If you
I get the logic.
Yeah, if you do find out that she's like totally awesome, you know what I mean? Like no matter what happened, she had like a lot of brothers, and she was always like so cool, and like she was everything like pans out. Then, maybe if you were going to get married, that would be the one that you would be, the highest odds of success with, right? So, and also, I think you really want to look at what her relatives look like at different ages. Like, I'd want to look at pictures of her uncle and aunt and everything and really see if this is, because as a young guy, it's so easy to get tricked, and even someone like Brad Pitt can get tricked by tits, which is incredible because there's so many women wanted him, right? But
Tits win.
Yeah. Chicks win. It's just an emotional decision, right? So, all right, well, cool, man. That was
based on tits.
Yeah. Never underestimate the stupidity of a guy, really.
Oh yeah.
It is incredible,
Yeah, so yeah, whoever's listening, and also yourself, me, look into that the relationship with the father there. Like, she obviously hates the father. These guys are getting married too. If they have a bad relationship with their father, that's a big sign. You
Yeah,
know.
right. Well, you have to look at the father too, though. You have to, you got to. If the guy's a
Yeah.
mass murderer, then you say, well,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
he didn't mean to kill so many people, but still.
He was innocent every 150 times that he got arrested.
He had a good
Yeah,
heart.
he did. Yeah. He had an extra heart because the guy that he ate, he had his heart. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Or he had a huge heart because he was 400 million pounds.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. All right. Well, good stuff. Good stuff. Thanks for coming on, John. Taking your time out on a Saturday, and I'm gonna go out and get some food and munch it down. So, I hope that you have a good one. And dude, I really appreciate you sharing. And I'd love to hear anybody else who's listening. If you're listening and you have some like input, this shit's serious, right? This is shit where we need help. We all guys all need help with this one. And like we need your input. We need your thinking. We need your stories, right? It all adds. It adds to everything. And like you just gave so much to this podcast, like finding out about his father, her father, and all that just puts it's a totally different. I didn't know that she had a bad relationship with him. I didn't know that he was reaching out. Yeah, I just didn't know that. I knew that I liked him, from when I had seen him in movies. But that gives me a whole. It makes it not that surprising, right? That she would be this way with a guy, right? But obviously Brad didn't know either, right? So, or he ignored it, right? So, all right, cool.
He tried, he tried damn hard. That's what I could say.
It looks like it. And also, I would say, even I'd add to that, it's a good point. I think he's still trying. Like, if you watch his videos now, he's kind of saying, like, basically what he's saying, if you watch this video that's right here, is he's saying, like, I was drinking a little more than I should. So, I basically stopped drinking, and this has been good for me. But I mean, like, what he's trying to do is get custody too.
Yeah.
So he has to. This is important for him. He has to show that he's changed, right?
Yeah, making efforts. Yeah.
He has to show that. Otherwise, he ain't gonna see those fucking kids, right?
But it wouldn't surprise me if you hear old John Voight's name come up somewhere again. Him rallying behind Brad because I think there's a good relationship there.
Right, but what I'm saying is, like, if you heard in private, Brad might say, I drank, but she drank twice as much as me. And she, she passed out and she did this and she cheated on me and she hit the kid. And, there might be all this stuff that she did that we don't even know because he's got his balls in a vice. He's got all the world looking at him. He's got every incentive to be a good guy and wrong, and he's walking the only line he can walk right now. So we don't know how much, because I have never read, like, usually when you hear of an alcoholic, right, you usually hear some pretty outrageous stories.
Yeah.
I mean, really, if you go to any, like, if you watch anybody online or you see anybody, I was watching Stevie Nicks talk about her drug use back in the 70s.
Yeah.
I mean, it was outrageous, it was like way over the top, like amazing she lived, I was watching her interview. Right? So, generally you hear these kind of stories when they turn, but Brad doesn't even have these stories. He's basically saying, like, he stopped smoking weed when he got married because she didn't want him to. And then he started drinking. And then it sounds like he had some, too many drinks and he considers that he has a problem. But I haven't heard of anything. I never saw any videos of him making a total ass out of himself. I mean, this is the kind of guy. I mean, you got to know this guy's not like us. Like, everybody's trying to take a video of this guy to make him look bad or good or whatever.
Oh yeah, he's under the microscope.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, the fact that there's no evidence out there, and even he's not saying, like, because it's in his interest to say these stories right now. Like, if let's say that he got drunk and, like, crashed a car and almost died. And, the thing for him to say is, like, man, I was so bad. I did this and that and I've changed. I'm going to rehab, all this stuff.
Yeah.
He would be bringing the stories out himself if they weren't even coming from the public. But they're not coming from him. They're not coming from the public. They're not coming from her. Basically, they don't exist. So
Yeah.
this guy was a pretty good guy who drank a little too much, and now he's not drinking. And this is his public line: is that he's like this, alcoholic. He's got to change, and it looks like it's working out for him, and that's good. But it is such an unfair game. He is, he is just being fucked in the ass so hard. He's like
without Vaseline.
Oh man, that's right. Everybody would prefer Vaseline in this case. Yeah, there's no Vaseline. Like he can't even go screw a bunch of his fans right now because it would all get on the internet.
He's not even getting a reach around.
No,
it's insane.
He could just all he would have to do on the interview, like on TV, is say, "Look, I would love to get a couple of girls together right now, and we have a nice weekend with lube and vibrators, and just help me to get over this whole thing and find myself. Now I'm single again, so I just want to kind of relax and get a few massages." I mean, and then here's my new email. Say it on like a Good Morning America or something. There would be so many offers to him, right? But he's not doing. He can't do that, and it's really fucked, right? Because he's single, right? He can do whatever he wants, right?
Yeah.
But he can't because of the kids and because of the mistake he made, the crime that he committed, which was getting married.
Yeah, federal crime.
Right. Death penalty on this one. Yeah, life imprisonment.
In Canada, it's an indictable offense.
Right. I mean, really, he's not even free to fuck his fans. I mean, that's so lame. I mean, look at him in this picture. He still looks cool. I mean, guaranteed women are trying to get him.
Yeah. You should at least go to the sperm clinic or some fucking thing.
Jeez. Sad. I mean, a guy to be taken down like this. If this doesn't teach you not to get married, I mean, it takes your world from being the most wonderful, huge world full of money and travel and friends and girls and just kind of fun things like if you want a private trainer or gym, if you want to go meditate and you want to take ayahuasca in South America, and then if you want to start a business or invest in Silicon Valley, you want to be a player. Like who is it? There was an actor recently who did very well in Silicon Valley. I can't remember who it is, but it's quite fun. You can do all these exciting things right as who he is, or you can just have some woman cut her tits off, stick a dildo in your ass. I mean, which do you want, right?
Oh, this is a difficult decision. Let me think about it for a week. I need a whole week of meditation. And I'll get back to you.
All right. Well, good. Well, awesome, dude. John, thanks for being on, and I hope you have a great weekend. Yep. And thanks, everybody, for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you had a couple of laughs, and hope we brought out some reality of the whole freaking situation. And, it's... damn, it's sad, man. It's so sad. I really, I'm going to have a little wake for him today. The wake for Brad Pitt, Or as they say in Japan, Burapi.
Yeah, Burapi. Yeah. Yeah, I think he has no pee left.
Right, his pee-pee has been... Yeah, he's got one, but it's 1 inch left, She's been chopping it off with her boobs.
Yeah. You gotta watch the women with knives. That's another, top 10 list.
The sad thing is because he's got kids, he's never gonna be the Bachelor again.
Oh, and she's gonna paint him to be such a loser.
Oh yeah.
The brainwashing is in full course right now.
Right, and his friend George Clooney, he better get some lube himself. He better get.
There's another one. Yeah, I got a request. Is the whole thing about when divorces happen and the psychological brain damage women do to their kids. So then they can't get back to their father, and their father's a piece of shit.
Well, of course, they've already if you watch Paul Elam in A Voice for Men, he talks about all the very and also Warren Farrell does a lot of videos about this, and he talks about the numbers. He talks about obviously 70% of divorces are women. or I think it might even be more, and initiated by women, and then the delinquent rate goes up, the overeating rate goes up, the criminality and everything, getting locked, everything goes up.
Yeah.
When the father is kicked out unceremoniously by the woman who signed that contract forever. When you sign that forever contract, just keep in mind this is it's like one of these trick contracts. It's like one of those things where the guys you could pull the guy's finger off and stuff in those old movies. It's like it's a or his nose falls off. It's like it's like an old magician. It's like not real. It's totally. They cut the woman in half with the saw. It's all fake. It's good that marriage contract is complete.
I didn't know that. I thought it was till death till you die.
It is for guys.
You're just telling me this now?
It is for guys. So in a sense, it is true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Till death till you die.
Right. Just not for women. They should when the priest says it.
Yeah.
He should
do you part.
Yeah. Well, he should say it to the man.
Yeah.
It's like, this is till death. Do you whatever, and then to the woman, it's like, well, basically, anytime you want to fuck the neighbor and take his money, you can go ahead and do that because he should have the actually that should be part of the marriage vows. We should even make it like write up the vows for what the priest should actually say at the altar.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's exceptions to the rule.
And I think a get out of jail free card should be on the table too.
Yeah, sure.
It's
and
like
a pair of dice.
And a motorcycle outside that with a girl with a shaved box on the back, and
exactly.
It's like if you do want to get out of here, this contract. There's always until the last second. You can still.
Yeah. And then a present like a trip to Hawaii and.
Right. At the very least, that could be the wedding gifts. Could be cashed in. At the very least, they should explain, because this is the last chance. Because the wedding vow is never explained to anybody. Yeah. It's a contract you sign, and then you find out later what it means, right? It should be like the priest should be like right there in front of everybody, like 70% of women. So there's a 70% chance that this woman here, or in the case of divorce, is going to initiate the divorce. And there's a 90% chance she's going to get the baby. There's after he signs this marriage contract, there's a almost 100% chance he's going to die 6 years younger than her. And the child support will be this much based on his income right now. It will be this much. And alimony, if they're married for 6 months, will be this much. And a year for this much. And 2 years for this much. And just kind of go through everything. And then,
and there's like a 70% chance he'll be jerking off more than he's having sex.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the old put a jelly bean in the bucket thing,
Yeah.
Every time you have sex before you get married, and then take one out every time you do after you get married, and the jar will never be empty.
Yay! You should be a marriage counselor.
No, that's an old thing that back in like 1800s they used to say.
Cool.
They'd say to the young guys, like, every time you have sex with you're this girl, put a jelly bean in the thing, and then after you marry, every time take one out, and like. Even though you're only dating for a few months, you could be married for 50 years. The jar will never be empty.
Yeah, there you go.
That was old wisdom. That was that was the truth. That kind of stuff, I miss that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If it wasn't true, then they wouldn't say it, right? It wouldn't work, right?
It wouldn't have lasted so long.
No, it'd be like a few guys would be like, fuck, I emptied the thing in like a week,
All right.
All right. Well, have a great one, and everybody, thanks for listening. And we'll be planning the old White Knight episode. I think it's going to be one of the best ones. White Knight. Oh man, I can't wait for that one. But all right, I'm off to get some food. Starving to fucking death. Later, guys.